Hello and welcome to KLM Institute,
where we break down the most important global updates in a way that's simple, clear, and powerful. Today, we look at a global shift that could shake the very foundation of international politics. Recently, 142 countries voted at the United Nations General Assembly to support Palestine's right to become an independent state. This is not just a vote, it's a global statement. A strong signal to the world. Palestine's demand for justice and statehood can no longer be ignored. Even powerful nations like India, France, the UK, Canada, and Portugal backed the resolution. It also called for a Palestinian state without Hamas, and proposed that the Palestinian Authority, with global support, should take over governance. But here's the catch. This vote is non-binding. It doesn't immediately change anything on the ground. Israel still controls large parts of Palestinian territory, and Israel called the vote a political circus. So, what does this vote really mean? It shows that the world is tired of waiting. The two-state solution, one for Israel and one for Palestine, has been discussed for decades, with no real outcome. Now, the global south and even parts of the West are saying, enough is enough. But here's where things get even more interesting. Let's take a step back in history. After World War I, the world created the League of Nations to maintain peace. But it failed. It had no real power. It couldn't stop World War II. So, after that disaster, the United Nations was formed in 1945 with the goal to protect peace and human rights. But fast forward to today, the UN is largely controlled by a few powerful countries, especially the United States. The UN Security Council has 5 permanent members with veto power. United States, Russia, China, United Kingdom, France. This means if any one of them disagrees, even if 190 other countries agree, the resolution is blocked. So we ask, if justice can be vetoed by one nation, if peace can be stopped by one powerful voice, is the UN still serving its purpose? Here's the big question. What if Asia, Europe, and Africa, together, exit the United Nations and create their own global alliance? Let's imagine this. These continents represent more than 70% of the world's population and economy. If they formed a new global organization, one that is fair, multilateral, and free from veto politics, it would change everything. Let's call it the Global Peace and Equity Council. What would happen to the USA and Israel if this happened? If these countries exit the UN, the United States would lose global control over international decisions. It would no longer be able to block votes or push its interests using its veto. The UN itself would shrink. It could become a small group of 30 to 40 nations, mostly close Western allies, with no real global legitimacy. Israel would be more exposed. Without US protection at the UN, new resolutions could pass. International courts could act. Sanctions or trade bans could be imposed by a new global body. A new alliance could build its own peacekeeping forces, global trade systems, and even a new human rights court. In short, a new world order could begin. And powerful nations like China, major African blocs, and even European middle powers may not just support it, they might lead it. This vote for Palestine is not just a headline, it's a signal. A warning, a question to the world. Are we ready to keep following a global system where justice depends on who holds a veto? Or is it time for Asia, Africa, and Europe to step up and create a new organization that reflects today's global reality? One where every country counts, where no single nation can block peace, and where justice is not a privilege, but a right. Thank you for tuning in. Stay informed, stay aware.